You see us?
I'm pulling it up now. Yes, ma'am. I see it.
Right. I see it too for a change. Good evening. Good evening. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Let's Talk Destiny Talk Show with my very special guest, Chantay West. I'm honored to be with you tonight, to be back, to just share a little love and happiness with somebody. And so tonight, I want to remind you that Let's Talk Destiny is a purpose-driven format, and our goal is to encourage, uplift, and empower individuals to pursue their purpose and to be all that they were created to be. Tonight, I have Chantay West with me, who I say is the epitome of the manifestation of personal strength. I've watched Chantay grow and mature spiritually and naturally into a powerful young woman, and I'm extremely proud of her. I've watched her journey with resilience and bounce back, and I'm just excited to have her in my life, and I'm excited to have her on the show tonight. Welcome, Chantay.
Hi, thank you.
What a privilege. Now, before we get into the discussion about what you're accomplishing at this time, where you are on your journey, I want to say to you that I know that you've had a lot of death in your family lately, and I want you to know that we have been praying for you and your family and holding you up in these times, because it's one of the things that I know for a fact that we tend to do as Christians is to feel like it's not okay for us to be upset. And especially during death, when we lose a loved one, you know, everybody comes with their scriptures and their, you know, Bible verses and their songs and try to tell you, you know, they're in a better place and God, you know, nobody wants to hear that when they lose a loved one. That we don't want them in a better place. We want them here in this place with us. So I just want to encourage you, to remind you and your family that you do have people praying for you.
Thank you.
And holding you up.
Thank you.
Let's talk about Chantay.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you like to do? What are some of your hobbies? What makes you happy?
What makes me happy really is just my family, friends, just enjoying life. Because I remember a time when I couldn't enjoy life. I enjoy writing and reading, and of course working and helping others. I'm not really hard to get along with. I mean, I'm pretty easygoing, so it doesn't require a lot to make me happy, but it's just like to be able to smile in these moments, like you said, when it's so much going on, means the world to me, because I remember being in a dark place. So just being able to smile, I say, even in the small moments, has been tremendous.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So what are you doing right now? Now, I know you have become a fantastic author, and I'm extremely proud of you for that, because I remember conversations that we've had in the past where you had a story inside of you that you wanted to get out, but you were uncomfortable and maybe lacked the confidence to let it out. And I am so proud of you to see you doing that now, because I read the other day, someone said that there are very few people as uncomfortable as a pregnant woman who cannot give birth.
Wow.
And of course, I thought back to my experiences, the natural with being pregnant and, you know, mentally ready to give birth, but my body was like, no, not yet. And it's a very uncomfortable place to be. And so I'm proud of what I'm seeing you doing, and how you were just allowing God to use you to bless others. So let's talk about this new book that just came out today. Tell everybody the title of it and what it's about.
The book that just dropped today is called God Blocked It. We actually just dropped the Kindle version today. The paperbacks will be available in about 2 to 3 weeks. This book actually is Women Healing Women. It's 28 of us that got together, and we each have a chapter in the book, and we just use our testimonies, basically what you've been through, or some just have like inspirational stories, and we piece them all together. And then at the end, we have a devotional and like 3 or 4 questions to reflect on what our chapter was about, to help that person to kind of relate to it and to have some devotion pieces with it as well. So we're excited. We're trying to go for international bestseller again. That's why we're actually pushing it today, for the bestseller campaign. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited at what God's doing.
Awesome. Now, I don't want you to tell us everything that's in your chapter because I want people to buy the book.
Okay.
But in a large sense, as I read it, what I was blessed by is that you were talking about avoidance. One of the things that you mentioned in there was about avoidance and how sometimes we block our own blessings. Absolutely. And we block, our dreams coming to pass, our visions being manifested because we are avoiding what we need to do to make it happen. So without going into a lot of information, because as I said, I want everyone to download this book. The Kindle version is available now, and we will try to get the link to you. I know Chantay has it on her page, and we'll make sure you get the link so you can go and download your copy of it. Yes. But what are some of the signs that you can share with the audience about what they may be doing that's causing them to avoid releasing some things so that they can be all that God wants them to be?
I would say definitely not confronting things head on, not having those hard conversations. I know for me, some of the time it was like procrastination. You knew you had to get this done at a certain time. And it's almost like I waited until the end. And it's almost like that stress, right there to the end, it's due now. And it's like I had that, I work best under pressure, it seemed like. So it's like I will cause myself that pressure though, because I had ample time to get it completed. But it's like, again, I was avoiding what I had to get completed at the time. Sometimes just not doing it, like it's almost like telling God, no, I'm not going to do this. And, because sometimes we feel unworthy of things that he's called us to do. And it may be like, you may think of what people may say. I know, like for me, sometimes it was like, what will people think, and it's like, when you think about it for real, well, if God gave you this vision, or if you say you heard this from God, why was I so worried about what people may say or what people may think? But again, that is something that does hold us back. Sometimes, depending on what your situation is, I know for me in the past, it was, what will my family think? Or like bringing a reproach to like my family or perhaps your church family. Because I know back in the past, that was something for me too. Like I wouldn't share parts of my story because of the fact that would it hurt, my family name, would it hurt the church? Or I wasn't worried about it hurting me. I'm suppressing all this stuff. I wasn't worried about it hurting me, but I'm worried about everybody else. But we have to get to a place, like I think that where I'm getting to now is where I have to learn to put myself first. And then, because I know we always hear all the time, you can't pour from an empty cup. Well, I learned that firsthand. Like I was doing so much for everybody else to the point where I was just killing myself. So Absolutely. Once I learned to step back and actually learn to pour into myself and then be able to help others, that's been working well.
Good. And I was thinking as you were talking, I remember some years ago, someone said they didn't like to be out front. They didn't like to do things that they know God wanted them to do because, they were shy or they didn't want people to think they had a spirit of pride. Mm-hmm. And then they said one night they were just, having this conversation and just rambling back and forth with the Holy Spirit, how we do. And the Holy Spirit just said to her, well, actually, it is a spirit of pride that's making you be disobedient.
Absolutely.
And I thought about that. Like, when you say, I don't have the talent, I'm not as good as somebody else. And I'm telling you, I totally get that because I've done that for years.
Right.
People were surprised and are probably still surprised to find out how inferior I felt most of my life because I came off like I knew I had it going on kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it was a defense mechanism.
Absolutely.
Because I was trying to protect myself from people seeing that I really felt low and unworthy and so forth and so on. But really, it's pride that makes you say to God,
Mm-hmm.
I know you called me to do this. I know you gave me this gift. I know you gave me this, but I'm not going to do it because I'm not good enough.
Yes.
And he's steady saying, yes, you are good enough.
Yes.
I created you with everything that you need to get this done. And so as I watch you, I really see that in manifestation. I really see the work that's done on the inside of you and how you've come out, and be less concerned about what other people are thinking.
Right.
Because I appreciate you saying that sometimes we miss being all that we're supposed to be because we're so worried about how people are going to respond.
Yes.
So what would you say is the response that you're getting from people now that you didn't expect to receive?
I see, like, I was still like in that trauma type mindset, because I was still like that fight or flight type of mindset. And then it's also not only that, but it's like I allowed certain things to play on my insecurities because I felt like I wasn't, good enough to do those things, even though I knew I was, like I could write all day long, or like I have a phone full of different things. But it's like when it came time to put it in motion, I would freeze, like, because like, am I really going to do this? Do I really want to do this? Is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, I would always second guess, and I would have a confirmation. It's almost like you get, that little beating that you get when you're like disobedient. It was like I would get a plenty of those, and it's almost like I still would be in that like that freeze mode to where like, should I step forward? It's almost like I had to question it, and then sometimes I feel like I had to get validation from other people when I was already validated. That's where I felt like I was already validated, and I was still trying to get validation from people. And I forgot that I had my own voice, and I was allowing others to still speak for me and to still be the voice for me.
Yes, yes. So now how do you feel? How would you describe where you are on your journey? How would you describe that?
I would definitely say transition, like evolving. I don't feel like I'm fully into what God has called me to do because of the fact, like, I feel like I stepped back a lot of times when he was telling me to go forth, because I was one of those ones that played the background. Like I didn't want to be in the forefront. Like I would push everybody else, but like I would do all the behind the scenes stuff. But it's like now where I have to come to the front, it's still like that kind of like freeze mode in a sense, but it's not as much as to the point where I'm like afraid, like, to be seen in the forefront anymore. So it's definitely been challenging and rewarding, and it's definitely opened up new opportunities and meeting new people, networking. And then as far as like just opening up and seeing like I wasn't alone, even though we talked about this before, like you're not alone in what you're going through, but like in those moments, you always feel like it's just you. And it never is. Like you're never alone. Like it's other people going through the same things. You may not know, but it's other people going through the same things. So definitely getting around like-minded people, or people that can help push you, not just people that bring you down or just want to tug on you and pull on you, but they don't pour into you.
Absolutely. Because this is one of the things I have also experienced. When you have a call on your life, when you are designated to be a healer for other people, people will just pour, like always wanting something from you, like draining. Like you can't even take time to get refilled before somebody else is coming with a need. Absolutely. And so that's why it's important for you, for me, for all of us to know when it's time to take a break, when it's time to withdraw from people. And sometimes when you do that withdrawal, people see it as, oh, you think you're too good, or they'll say stuff like, oh, Jamie is changing, oh, Chantay is changing. Well, yeah, we're supposed
Exactly.
Like, everybody, life is about change and evolution and moving forward. So
absolutely,
it's important that, like you say, you have to have what you need inside before you can give it to anybody else.
right.
Because I find that we sometimes, for too many years, we've been running on fumes. And growing up in the church, and you can, relate to this as well. We do a lot of repeating what we've heard other people say, quotes, and me and the whole religiosity thing. I can't stand it.
Don't you start?
Like so much religious rhetoric and stuff that sounds cute, but it's not changing anybody's lives, and it's not helping anybody. Just a lot of cute quotes.
Absolutely.
That really mean absolutely nothing when you look at it. But people need things that will change their life, and they need everyday application. And so when I watch you and I hear your testimony and I read what you've written, I can see the work that's being done in you. It's not just words, but I can see the work that's been done in you. So what do you see as the next thing that you want to accomplish? Not whether it's personal or career-wise or spiritually.
Actually, on Tuesday, I start culinary school. Because I do have, I do have a passion for cooking. So I actually do start culinary school. The opportunity presented itself and I went for it and got accepted. So I do start that on Tuesday the 17th, and that goes until April. In the meantime, I still just continue to write and then just see the doors that God is opening, honestly.
Awesome. Yes, because you can definitely cook.
Thank you.
And and I remember when we first connected, we talked about your cooking and how you love to do it, but there were so many other things that were pulling at you and other things that people were telling you should do this, no, you should do that, no, you should do the other. But I'm glad to hear that you are going forward with that.
Yes.
And I'm proud of you. So what about spiritually? What is your ultimate goal that you want to, where do you want to be? Like say a year from now, what do you want to see yourself doing? Are you going to continue writing? Do you want to do workshops? What are you visualizing for yourself?
Definitely, I think continue writing. But I also I want to get back into the outreach because I just love helping people. So definitely the outreach type thing, working with the less fortunate and things like that. So to be in that aspect of it, in the community actually. So just hopefully just working in that capacity. I don't have it set out right now exactly where or how, but that I just see that's forthcoming.
That's fine.
I really like a sit down type of not really, no, I don't really want a restaurant type, but it's just somewhere like a personal, I don't know if you remember the movie, The Family That Prays, but you remember Alice Diner, and you remember she had a spot to where the people could come, they could get a shower and things like that. I would like something like that, intimate also, but the community is welcome, but also the less fortunate and stuff don't feel less than to come in, and still be able to have a meal, still be able to get prayer or just have a sit down, just to rest, something like that. So I really like that part of the movie, and I really like the aspect of it. And I intend to incorporate that somehow in future goals.
That's powerful. I like that, Chantay. That's a good idea. It's a very unique concept. Definitely something that you need to write down and detail it out. And, I'll be praying with you and see, what we can do to assist you to make that happen. But you know what my favorite part of that movie was?
I can only imagine.
When she got slapped over that counter.
My son is a car, right?
Oh my God, help me. That was my favorite part because I wanted to slap her myself.
Right.
Reach the TV.
Yes.
Sis, go sit down.
Yes.
Oh Lord, let me get myself together. But, yeah, but that's powerful. Because it's funny because when most people when they think of restaurants or they think of eating places, the main goal is the money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to see how much money I can make.
Mm-hmm.
But your first point of concern is making sure that everybody is welcome.
And I'll tell you why too, because I found out when I first started like cooking and doing like the platter type things, I learned that if you just base it on money, you're gonna be mad. Because some days you could sell out, some days you don't. Like one day you can maybe make $500, the next day you make 50. Because it just depends on what the people want, and it doesn't matter whether you're home based or whether you're inside of a restaurant. So I feel like this way, like it won't go to waste because you have people that's needing that food that you're going to waste anyway. So they can come in and they can have meals, and be warm and then still like have a place to like have like someone around surrounding them, like they're not just sitting on the streets alone. Cause I mean, we all know how that feels when you feel like you're alone. And then I can't imagine, you're on the streets all day long with nowhere to go, just roaming around the streets. And, you just feel like, no one loves you, like you're all alone. So just to give that factor to it, because I mean, I knew what that feels like. I've never had to sleep on the streets, but like I've been homeless before where it hasn't been my actual home. And I know sometimes how people can make you feel, when you're inside of their place and things like that. Absolutely. So I can't imagine how you feel when you're outside on the streets and you have no way to, like anywhere to live or anywhere to go or anything. So you're basically living off of whatever you can find, or if someone decides to donate to you or something like that.
Yeah. And the thing is, like you said, I think one of the absolute worst feelings in the world is the feeling of being unwanted.
Yes.
And even if you have sleeping in somebody's house and they make it clear to you every single day that you're there, that they don't want you there.
Absolutely.
That's a horrible feeling. And I hear people sometimes say, I don't give any money to homeless people because I'm not going to be buying them no alcohol and I'm not going to be buying them no drugs. And I remember my mother saying one time that when you bless somebody and you give to somebody, it's not your business really what they do with it. God will bless you for helping them.
That's right.
And then whatever they do is between them and God.
That's right.
They don't have anything to do with you.
That's right.
And so that's how I feel. Like I've been there. I'm like you. I haven't actually had to sleep in the street, but I have been places where I was unwanted.
Absolutely.
And I've, been in an apartment where I didn't have any electricity. I've been hungry, so I know how that feels. And so the fact that is your purpose and your focus, I believe that God will bless you to bring this thing into fruition because there is so little love. Every time a catastrophe happens in this country, a school shooting or some major, massive something happens, the whole country gathers and wants to love each other.
Yes.
And pray together and unite and all that. And that lasts for like 10 minutes.
Yes.
And then everybody goes right back to doing what they were doing.
Absolutely.
But we need to have people like such as yourself who genuinely care about people and whose focus is not on themselves. And I believe that God is going to bless you with what you need to make that happen. And I want to encourage you, Chantay, to pursue this because I really hear in my spirit, and I really feel that this is something that God has given you to do. And I believe that you can do this. Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be great big, but it will change lives. And I really, I'm excited about that. All right. So let me get myself together because I'm still picturing that girl getting slapped on the couch. Okay. But seriously, there are so many young people who don't understand, young women in particular, who don't understand the importance of knowing their purpose and pursuing their purpose. Their whole life is wrapped up in what some man wants from them, what they think they can give to somebody else. like, but they don't really understand themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you for a moment. I don't know if you saw my post. Yes, you did see it the other day about wanting to sit down to talk with some of my daughters,
Mm-hmm.
on a monthly basis, just to find out how they're doing. Because I see so many posts on social media
Right.
from these young women, and they're having trouble with their children. They're having trouble with their children's fathers.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are having mental health crises, and they go to social media
Mm-hmm.
where they really can't get help. Like they just post it there, but it's just kind of like an outlet. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
writing it in a journal, they just write it on their Facebook page.
Right.
But I want us to have a place where we can come and talk. And so I've reached out, a number of times. Nobody has responded, but I'm still going to keep reaching out. Even if I have to just do a monthly message and post it, live. If, nobody responds, I'm still going to do it because I feel the need. But as a young woman in today's society, what would you say? Give me 2 things that you think are major points of concern for our young women.
Definitely chasing after a man. Not seeing the value in themselves alone before the man enters, like feeling like they have to be wrapped around this man. And I would say definitely in our communities, therapy or like therapeutic, because a lot of us in the Black communities, we know have faced various traumas, and we don't deal with them, so I feel like we as kids, we come through all these traumas and we grow up as adults with traumas, and it shows, like that lashing out on Facebook and stuff like that. Those are responses to get the attention because they're crying out for help, but they're doing it in the wrong way. So I just feel like if we do have those outlets to where we are able to sit down with them and talk to them, or, we don't have all the answers, but if we all come together, like everybody's input could probably give them the answers that they need. So I would definitely say like having those meetings and having the hard conversations, like letting them know, like, they are not what happened to them, or even if they cause it themselves, because I know I used to be self-inflicted. So even if you cause it yourself, like you're not your mistakes, pick up where you are now and move on with your life, because there's so much more ahead of you. We can't stay stuck in those past things and those past traumas. So definitely to be healed and go forward.
Absolutely. All right. And I want to take a moment and stop and say good evening to everyone who has joined us, and those of you who are watching. A couple of you are, saying good evening to us, and I want you to know we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join us. But I do, Chantay, I do have a burden for my daughters. Right. I have sons biologically, so I talk a lot about mothers and sons, and one of the important parts of the mission for A Mother's Cry is dealing with mothers who have sons who are incarcerated and stuff like that. But I have a burden also for my daughters, the daughters of my heart, such as yourself. And I'm concerned about what I'm seeing. Like, it's like the self-respect is virtually non-existent.
Absolutely.
The dreams, the goals, like, what do you want to do with your life? Like, what do you want to be other than somebody's baby mama?
Yes.
And that bothers me. It really, because we were created for more than that. We are created with greatness inside of us, and we come from greatness.
Absolutely.
And so we should be producing greatness. And so when I put out opportunities for us to sit down and talk, and people don't respond, it hurts me. It hurts my feelings, like, oh, they don't want to talk to me. Not like that. It hurts me because I see a need and I know they have the need, but they're not willing to accept help.
Right.
And so that's why I wanted to ask you as a young woman, what you think the answer is, and what can we do to get them more engaged. I'm concerned about these young girls out in the street fighting like grown men.
Yes.
I'm concerned about the young women who are getting involved with these guys just because they have street names, street credibility, and then they end up dead.
Yes.
And then their children are having to be raised by the state or raised by family members because you're out there chasing a man instead of chasing, take care of your children.
Yes.
I'm concerned about my daughters who are involved in domestic violence situations with these men, and you just put up with it because you think, I've heard a couple of them say, I'd rather have somebody than nobody, even though he beats me up or and I'm like, are you serious?
Exactly.
Like, I just come from a whole different mindset. And so I wanted to ask you, for some suggestions and your opinion about what's going on and what we can do to help.
I think a lot of them need to be reaffirmed, like who they are and like that they are beautiful, and that they are worthy. A lot of us in the home growing up, we're not really taught that, if that makes sense. Sometimes you don't have that love inside the home. Like, the parents could be present, but you don't really have that love factor there. Like they do everything for you to ensure that you have what you need. But it's like you don't get those, some don't get those hugs and those kisses, they don't have that mother-daughter relationship, or the father is away, and different scenarios, like different things goes on. So it's like, I feel like that's what's missing. That's like the key factor that's missing in a lot of our homes, from the broken factors, and then like different various traumas as well. So I really feel like if we can get to the root of that, I feel like that's where we'll begin to help them, and just let them know like you genuinely want to help. Because I feel like they think, because I know like that's how I was, always afraid that people would judge you based off what you released. But I had to get to a point to where I don't care if you judge me off of it, because that's already happened. Like, how can I move forward? And I don't want to be stuck in this place. And if you do want to move forward, you'll generally take the help that's given to you, because I mean, people are sent to you every single day. You never know the reason all the time. And maybe looking at it from that aspect of it, you don't realize that they are sent to help you, and you may push them away. And then in the long run, you realize, hey, she was really there to help me, genuinely to help me. And sometimes life works out where you may be able to reconnect with them, but that's not always the case. So now I'm learning to accept the help when it comes, and you'll know if it's genuine or not. Like you definitely know if someone's genuine or not.
And because here's the thing, and good evening to those who are still joining. We appreciate you taking time. Here's the thing I think that young people need to remember, especially our young women, since that's who I'm talking about at the moment. Nobody was born the age they are right now. We've all been through some things.
Yes.
I tell people all the time, I am the sum total of all of my life experiences. Where I am right now is a sum total of everything I've been through.
Absolutely.
So I've been molested as a child. I've been abused. I've been rejected and I've been through all that. I've been in relationships where there was domestic violence. I've been, I've been through all that.
Absolutely.
So it's not like I'm just saying, I want to find out all of your business just so I can nitpick. Girl, why in the world would you do something like that? I want to take you by the hand, because this is something I said that another one of my many pet peeves, because I have quite a few. But one of them is the statement that hurt people hurt people. And that disturbs me, because not all hurt people hurt people. Some hurt people while they're hurting will reach over and take the hand of another hurting person and say, let's walk this out together.
Yes.
Every hurt person is not automatically lashing out, seeing who they can hurt.
Absolutely.
And so sometimes when people are hurting, they need to connect with another person that can say, I understand what you're going through.
Yes.
Because I'm going through the same thing. Or I just came through that. Let me tell you what worked for me. So instead of going into a shell feeling like nobody in the whole wide world is going through what I'm going through, you have to understand that there are people who are going through what you're going through, and they care about you.
Yes.
So as you have come to this point in your journey, and again, I'm extremely proud of you because I just know that there's so many challenges that you have faced, and it would have been so easy to give up. We've talked about, in the past, we talked about the even addictions that you had with substance abuse. And even that was ways of avoiding the real you, the greatness that was inside of you.
And can I just kill the elephant in the room on that? I even was going through addictions while I was supposed to be in church.
All right.
So it's not like the religiosity part of it and all of that does not stop you from going through life's trials. Like, you can still be touched by life's trials and face the same things that anyone on the street can face. You're just proclaiming Christ.
Yeah. I mean, because, like, come on now, let's just be real about it. Just about everything you see going on in the street is in the church.
Yes.
It's just like, presented in a different package.
Yes. And I feel like that's some of the young people's problem too, is because I feel like when you do, once you do get saved and things like that, or you begin to, seek your spirituality, a lot of the times we forget that we were young too, and we used to do some of the same things that they do. And, it's like that rod over top of their head, like, you shouldn't be doing that. When not so long ago, we were doing the same thing. You know what I mean? And like, some are even still doing it. So I mean, like, to give that same grace that we wanted when we were going through those things.
Yeah. Because I remember saying to a lady one time at my parents' church, because I've always been I've been called a rebel ever since I can remember, because I was always asking questions that other people would just accept it. But I would be like, well, it makes sense to me. I need you to explain that, so forth and so on. So I remember saying to a lady one time, she was talking about the young women, and every time you turn around, they had a different man coming to church, and this, that, nothing. But even about some of the clothes they were wearing. And I said, let's just be real about this. The only reason you're really upset right now is because they're doing things that you cannot do anymore. And because there's no man chasing after you at the moment. But back in the day, when you had 2 or 3, 4 men at the same time, hello, like, we forget. Yes. We were always, it's like my sons tease me now because whenever I say about going on a date, they just make it clear you're not going out with nobody. You're not. I'm like, shut up. First of all, if I wanted to go on a date, I would. But I don't have a life too. But my point is that, like you said, we forget. We forget so easily. And I just want to be known as a person that sees people where they are, accepts people where they are, and want to know, what can I do for you right here where you are? Absolutely. I saw a movie a long time ago, and it was a children's movie, actually. But it was about some robots. And so when the robots got broken, like parts of them were broken or whatever, they were all hauled away and thrown away, like to this special place where they were no more good. And so it was this one robot. He was going around trying to gather up all the broken robots and find ways to fix them. And people were questioning him about why he was doing that. Right. And somewhere in that movie, he said, when I see a need, I meet a need. Right. And that stuck in my head. And I mean, that was many years ago. And that's how I describe myself. Right. Like, when I see a need for something, I try to do what I can to meet that need. I don't always get the response that I want. Absolutely. But I just want people to know that I'm there for that. Right. And I see that in you also. And I want you to be encouraged to keep doing that. Like, not everybody's going to accept you. Not everybody's going to say, I wish that I was like Chantay. Some people are going to walk away, so forth and so on. I just want you to know that you are the manifestation of all that God has created you to be. And I'm extremely proud of where you are, and I am excited about where you're going next.
Thank you.
I want to publicly say that to you because I can see that change. Now, tell us a little bit more before we leave about this book that dropped today, because I want to make sure everybody gets it.
Okay.
Tell them how to get it, the name of it, everything.
Okay. Again, it's the book is called God Blocked It, and you can find it on Amazon. And if you just go to the link godblockedit.com, it should pull you right. It should pull it right up on the Amazon link, and you can just click and check it out. But again, it's 28 women. We use our testimonies, devotionals, and questions to help reflect on whatever our chapter is based about. In my chapter, a lot I talked about like the sacrifices of your yes. The things you have to go through, like your testing, your trials, and different things like that, and how it's not easy. Like it's not easy to face yourself, and it's not easy to go through these tests and trials of life. But ultimately, we have to get to where God ultimately is trying to take us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, I see the growth, I see the development, and I just want you to be encouraged to keep going.
Thank you.
You're my girl. You know that. You're one of the few people that gets me. Because sometimes I say things and I can see people's head like, what in the world? But it's all good. It's all good. And like I said, I appreciate you. I'm like, I don't even know how to tell you how much I appreciate you. And I'm looking forward to your manifestation of your dreams and your visions. And want to remind you again to write it down.
Yes.
And just take it step by step. And everything that you want to do, you can do, because you have the ability inside of you. You were created with what you need to achieve all of that. Did you have any final words that you want to share with those who will be watching and those who are watching now with regard to dreaming and visions and just anything you want to share?
I would definitely say don't be afraid of your uniqueness. Don't be afraid of your flaws, and just continue to step forward. You can't please everybody, but just step forward into what you know is true for you.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Ms. Chantay. Well, I'm getting ready to let you go, and I really appreciate you joining me tonight.
No problem.
Of course, you will be back. If I can't get any more guests to come on this show, I know I can get Chantay West.
Right. Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. I know that's right, girl. All right. Again, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For those of you who watched with us tonight, I can't really see who it is, but I appreciate you, and those who will be watching once we're finished. I appreciate you joining us. And just remember that each and every one of us were created with purpose. And it's important for you to acknowledge your purpose, find out what your purpose is, and pursue that purpose and be the very best version of what God created you to be. Thank you, and God bless.
See ya.
Bye-bye.